Tonight, former MP for Dom Kwabena Adwoa Safo referred to the NPP's Disciplinary Committee following her explosive interview on JoyNews.
It's a very bogus committee.
Why do you say so?
Why? And you know, a committee that is put together, and it's an intentional committee put together just to make sure that we find certain facts.
We'll bring you details of that explosive comment on JoyNews, which has caused the party to refer her to the disciplinary committee. We'll also speak to the party for some responses and do more analysis on what this has in stock for the party here on Top Story, brought to you always by Telecel Connect and Energies and Holy Insecticide Spray and Coil. Enjoy a holy sleep. Tonight, the former member of parliament for Dom Kwabena Adwoa Safo is hot again because the party has referred her to the disciplinary committee. This follows her explosive interview on JoyNews this afternoon, following the party's instruction to all members to discontinue discussing the fortunes of the party on radio. The party had cautioned that members should refrain from commenting on what caused the party to fail in the 2024 elections. But Sarah Adwoa Safo went against that and spoke a lot about what is happening to the party. Now, she took on the committee itself that has been established by the party to look into why the party failed. She describes the committee as a bogus one. Listen to this.
It's not only my father. Pastors, we were arresting pastors that prayed for us to come into government. You expect him to tell his church following that go and vote for NPP again. So I'm telling you, we are the cause of our own loss.
Have you appeared before the Professor Michael Quay's committee? Because it is the committee is asking people why the NPP lost. You have stories to tell.
It's a very bogus committee.
Why do you say so?
Why? And you know, a committee that is put together, and it's an intentional committee put together just to make sure that we find certain facts and push a particular candidate away from the candidacy so that we can bring our own. You call that a credible committee, fact-finding committee. If Professor Michael Quay thinks he has integrity, thinks that he is credible, I want the first page of his fact-finding report. Why my son Michael Quay Jr. lost Dome Kwabena's seat. He should give us a detailed report on that.
That is possible.
If it's able, no.
It is possible it could be captured.
No, if he's able to do it, and do it with the needed integrity, with the transparency, without biases and prejudices, I will take any report finding that he puts in there against Dr. Bawumia. Other than that, that report will not work in this party.
Is this not a premature conclusion, knowing very well that the report is not out? We don't even know the content.
The composition. He should, no, please, your backyard is burning. And you think the best person to lead a fact-finding committee like that constituency is included, will do a thorough job for you. So why don't you go for an independent person? So
you want the entire committee changed, bring in new people to do this work? This is not the first time.
I'm telling him there are other credible members. That's why I'm saying, I'm just talking about him. I know there are other members. I'm not attacking anybody. I am attacking the chair of it. Hey, couldn't we have found anybody in the party to chair?
Because he's conflicted.
Exactly. Why do you do that? And we know what we know, and we've heard what we've heard. He shouldn't come and tell us that we should blame everything on Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia because Ghanaians don't want him and that he won't fly again and then we can't market him again. And so, blah, 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 blah. Uncle Trust and Yamani were reporting him.
You suspect that is what is coming up?
We are warning him. If he brings that report, nobody's going to work with that report. And that it means that we are not serious to rebuild, we are not serious to regroup, and we are not serious to recapture power.
The Ashanti report doesn't blame Bawumia for the party's defeat, at least from what we've...
And that is credible. Couldn't the same person have done that work for the party? Who has more parliamentary experience and electoral experience than Osei Mensah?
But that is only Ashanti.
His name was there and they shut it down.
That is only Ashanti. The film may be
His
different
name
from the
came
other,
up, they shut it down.
the other 15 regions.
The name popped up, they shut it down. Why? Why? And now we want somebody whose hands are already soiled in a defeat. And now he's coming to determine whose defeat to what? To structure and present. That is what? Do you know the number of votes that we bring on board from Domeko Abenya? His son should bow down his head in shame anywhere he is right now. We win over 30,000 margin. You present your son. Since I sat on the seat, my son can do it. My son can do it. They have never given me peace in that constituency. We hand over the mantle to your own son, and you were running the show with your son. And you bring this humiliating defeat to the party and you still think you have credibility to determine whether Bawumia should come again or not. No, we are bringing Bawumia back.
But if you think that, the candidate you present in 2024 was not the choice of the people, and you obviously is the choice, then why don't you go back and take the seat for the NPP?
I have said it, Elton. I said the only person that can change my mind
is your father.
Take that seat again. And you know the dynamics of the constituency.
Right.
Crystal Safo, without Crystal Safo, you cannot win Domeko Abenya. The guy can go 100 times without me. And Domeko Abenya is Adwoa Safo and her father. And without me and my father, that seat will be forever for the NDC. And it is your son who sold it to them.
That was Sarah Adwoa Safo in that explosive interview with Elton Broby on the Pulse on JoyNews channel. Now, in that interview, she speaks also a lot about what is in stock for the party and the fact that no one can gag her from speaking up, on things that affect her, even though the party says no one should be speaking in the media. She goes contrary to that and really reviews a lot of things that has gone against her in that particular constituency. And what is up for her in future. She's been talking about her future in the party and what she intends to do, and the fact that really people have been on her all this while to try and kick her out. She delves more into what happened in Parliament to say that they accused her even wrongly, and the fact that she was not the one who voted against Professor Michael Kwe, but they thought it was her. She then revealed that she was the one who sat in the chamber during the E-levy debate. Look, there's a lot of things that Sarah Adwoa Safo, poured on in that particular interview. But let me bring in the Deputy General Secretary of the NPP, Haruna Mohammed, who's joining us on the phone. Haruna, I'm grateful to you for joining. Now, you brought a statement that barred members of your party from speaking in the public on the internal matters of the party. This is she going against it, and you are referring her to the disciplinary committee. But if you do that, is that democratic enough to gag your members not to speak, on issues affecting your party?
Thank you very much. I believe that there was earlier directive by the General Secretary of the party directing all NPP members to cease discussion on matters that create disaffection within the party in the media cycle. He made reference to Article 3.5 of the party's constitution, who talks about duties of a member. This article has two strands, that is A and B, and A has 1 up to 8, and 1 says that a member shall have the right and duty at all times to 1, promote and defend the good name of the party. The good name of the party is exactly what every member is ought to be doing. It is not in the mouth of every party member to speak ill of the party decisions. If you read up to 4, to abide by and publicly uphold the decision of the party. So the General Secretary, as the Chief Executive Officer of the party, issued the directive. And even in issuing the directive, he said that the New Patriotic Party acknowledges the disappointment and emotional distress caused by our defeat in the last elections.
Haruna, before you progress, this particular directive by the General Secretary, Sarah Adwoa Safo had a response to this. I want you to listen, then we can continue this conversation.
They shouldn't. This is a party that has fought for freedom of speech. This is a party that we've had a president that had come in and repealed the criminal libel law. We are in opposition. Well, how can you tell people not to speak? How can you restructure when you don't want people to speak? I am telling ourselves that if we want to be comedians and then do things and we laugh at our own acting, Ghanaians are ready to give us all the luxury to do that. But I don't think we want that. So let people pour out. Let people tell you why we did the things that we did. Let us see how we can, work it out with them. Those that have left. The love of the party, the love that people had for the party is no more. It's no more. How do we bring all of them back? How do we sit around the table again, put the right strategies, the right planning? And that's what we are going to do for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. We are going to bring him back as the flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party.
You think he's still the best person to lead the NPP?
He's the best person. We've marketed him before. We will market him again. And every person, I think, deserves a second chance.
The New Patriotic Party issued a statement. This is what they acknowledge the disappointment and emotions that the last elections caused. Many of us as party members have on several platforms expressed our anger, disappointment, and frustration. However, we humbly ask that all party faithfuls remain calm so that cooler heads may prevail at this time. And as an officer of the party mandated by the party constitution to coordinate the activities and programs of the party, please know that all party members are hereby directed to immediately cease discussing party issues that create unrest, negativism, and disaffection in the media and other related platforms. And this statement is signed by the party's General Secretary, Justin Kodia Frimpong. You say that this is only gagging you from speaking out and it will not help.
I am just reminding the party that this is a party that we fought for freedom of speech. We had our flag bearer, once flag bearer and once president, walk on the streets of Ghana demonstrating the Ghanaians should be allowed to speak. And it's a constitutional right, freedom of speech. Who started speaking? Our General Secretary. Who started speaking after we lost the election? He was going everywhere, explaining. He went to the extent of telling people that nobody should blame him for the election, what we lost. He went on radio saying that His Excellency, the President Nana Akufo-Addo, wasn't listening to them at cabinet. That is what Kodia went on radio to say. And what? Now it's Adwoa Safo stand and what? You are issuing a statement. What locus does he have? You were on radio. And if he wants to write a letter, a love letter to me, he should write that love letter. This is so general. And I don't think it's a general statement I want to respond to. But you started the game. He should go on social media and see how the party people are bashing him. He has an election coming up. He shouldn't allow himself to be manipulated and used for other people's cause. If you have an election coming up and your party base is bitter and they want a voice to speak for them, what I'm doing, I want to clarify something. I'm a lawyer. I've read that statement. I am not discussing party issues here. There has been a character assassination on me. I have been defamed by my own party. And I have a duty owed to myself to clarify, to set the record straight, to strip them off that whatever they painted me, however they painted me, to bring me down. It's not what it was. It's not what it is.
Naturally, people with this kind of, anger in them will leave the party peacefully. You have no intention of leaving the party?
Nobody brought me in the party, and the party is not for anybody. We are all in there to build the party. So nobody can force me out. And you can't force me to keep my mouth shut. Other people speak. When other people speak, and it's not from something that is pushing for the Baumia agenda, that is okay. But when it's something that is for the Baumia agenda, everybody should keep quiet. We are not going to be suppressed.
And you will not resign from the party too?
We will not resign until we have Dr. Mahmoud Baumia as the president of this country. He deserves it. He's a humble person. He's an honest person. He has some good in him. That if Ghanaians are given the opportunity and we present him again and we market him again, he can take up the seat. What didn't Ghanaians say about the ex-president, our ex-president? Akufo-Addo can never be president. He's arrogant. He's that. He's that. The party, people like us, all of us stood with him, stood with the party and said, we'll bring him again. We'll bring him again. Now, with what we have done, that caused the loss of our elections. That cost us our elections. During Kufuor's time, it was better when we were saying it on our lips. That the 2007 election that we lost was a judgment on Kufuor's governance. And so ex-President Kufuor should go and stay home. Because we are saying party, no. And President Kufuor quietly went and sat there. Never did anything. Why is it that now we are saying that our loss is a reflection of the governance and the things that we did? And with the Nkofobi is a bitter pill for them to swallow.
So that's the words of former MP for Dom Kwabena Sarah, Adwoa Safo. We're still on the line with Haruna Mohammed, Deputy General Secretary of the NPP. Haruna, you've heard her, especially with regards to the directive that you issued. She says she's not discussing party issues, but discussing things that border on her. How do you respond?
You heard her spoke about a committee that was set up by the National Council. The National Council is the second highest decision-making body of the party. Professor Michael Quay is not the committee. He is the chair of the committee. We have other respectable members of the committee, and a National Council committee is being described on public platform as bogus. That is a party decision. And in Article 354, that we should abide by and publicly uphold the decisions of the party. Then you publicly say that the decision of the party is bogus. It is not right. And then you go ahead.
Haruna, she explained. Haruna, she explained by saying that the man has an interest in, for example, Dom Kwabena because his son was the one who stood for the party, and he's the same person who has to go to Dom Kwabena, for example, to investigate why the party lost. Isn't she right to say that? Well, the man will be conflicted when it gets to say Dom Kwabena, for example.
You don't call the committee bogus because Michael Quay is not the committee. Michael Quay is only the chairman of the committee. Apart from Michael Quay, we have Professor Emeritus Yao Ntiamoa Bedi, Professor Kofi Osei Ekwaku, Professor Samuel Bet Kusi, Dr. Felix Yamoa, Dr. Joseph Adepon Damor, Mr. F.F. Anto, Mr. Koku Donfe, Honorable Gifty Kusi, Honorable Abdullah Banga, Seydou Lasibiri, Lawyer Seydou Lasibiri, and William Siamoa. These are members of the committee. Professor Michael Quay cannot be the committee. He's the chair of the committee. The committee has not even brought out any reports. They have not even started today. In fact, today they have met with the former President Kufuor. They have not even started writing reports. Not to talk of people conjecturing what will be in the report. This ought to stop and allow this to work. We are not asking anybody not to speak. We have given everybody the opportunity per the release on the 2nd of January, a decision of the National Council for a committee to meet in every constituency. Apart from that, there is an official email and designated party headquarters where they can submit written reports to this committee for it to be reviewed. So we have given everybody the opportunity. And that is why in the wisdom of General Secretary's release, he indicated that many of us as party members have on several platforms expressed our anger, disappointment, and frustration. However, he humbly asked that all party faithfuls remain calm so that cooler heads may prevail at this time.
But if you take action against her for speaking, wouldn't that then connote a party that says it believes in democracy, but really then in practice does the opposite? Because one of the tenets of democracy is to free speech.
Nobody has said you should not speak. The party has rules, and we have called on everybody. If you have an immediate action or something to say relative to this action, must direct that to a specific committee. People have spoken. People have been speaking. The party was watching, listening, and the party decided to issue a statement to direct the conversation. So at this stage, we needed to see what we say in public and make sure that we are guided by the rules of the game. And the General Secretary quoted the specific provision as duty of members of the New Patriotic Party to promote and defend the good name of the party, to protect the unity of the party, to be loyal and truthful to the party, to abide by and publicly uphold the decision of the party, carry out his or her duties faithfully with honesty to the best of his or her ability, and participate fully in the activities of the party, and ensure that the local organs of the party work effectively and accountable. So these are the guiding principles of every member.
Okay. Aside the fact that you feel that if she speaks, it then aggravates the situation that you have. But when you listen to her, is she not putting out factual happenings that border on her and the party?
It is not for me to look at the issues that she has said. I have pointed to you areas that are very detrimental and affect the image of the party. It is not right to question the decision of the second highest decision-making body of the party and to call it bogus. It is not right.
Okay, so you
cannot question the constitutional powers given to the General Secretary and say he doesn't have the locus. What is the locus here? Article 10(7)(5) is clear. And the General Secretary is the chief executive of the party. And you cannot say he doesn't have the locus. He was not appointed just as I am appointed. He went to elections and won. And he did not win the election by ballot. I believe that let's make sure that we respect party decisions, we uphold party decisions, and we go back to rethink and make sure that we direct our energy in rebuilding this party going forward.
When is the disciplinary committee expected to sit on this particular matter? You are inviting her to the disciplinary committee, right?
There are disciplinary measures and outlines that is stated in the party's constitution.
Okay.
This has just been done. The chairman of the disciplinary committee is a former road minister. His attention will be drawn to that, and the members of the disciplinary committee will take it from there. And I believe that they are going to use the constitutional provisions to deal with the matter.
So you've referred it to the disciplinary committee.
That is why you have seen the release from the General Secretary.
But we don't know when they are going to sit on this particular matter yet.
It has just been done. The disciplinary committee will also decide because the committee has a chairperson and other members of the committee.
Okay. But, if you listen to Adwoa Safo quite well, now she is pointing to the fact that the General Secretary himself is making public comment about the party's defeat. And she says he is trying to absorb himself of the defeat. So it wasn't about the powers of the General Secretary really, but about the fact that he has also gone on radio to speak about the party's defeat. So she doesn't see what is different from what she's doing.
These are two different issues. The General Secretary is the CEO of the party. And the General Secretary, after the party's defeat, needed to bring party members up to speed. He was not only doing media engagement, but the General Secretary was visiting some notable constituencies and other bodies within the party. And the General Secretary sought to do some kind of explanation and to bring the party people up to speed. He did not go to attack the decision of the party or to insult the new patriotic party. If you listen to the interviews of the General Secretary, it cannot be equated to what is being discussed on our platforms now, that we are asking that we should all be restrained and make sure that we situate ourselves in a place where we'll be able to rebuild and then recapture power in 2028.
And per your constitution, does she risk being expelled from the NPP?
I cannot determine that, because she has been referred to the committee, and the committee will make recommendations to the party at the appropriate time, as stipulated in the disciplinary procedure and functions of the disciplinary committee. They are to investigate the complaint concerning the misconduct, to make full and impartial inquiry into any complaint, to report in writing the results of the inquiry and the reasons leading to the conclusions reached, and make recommendation to the executive committee based on the results of the inquiry. So in this particular instance, a directive has been issued. She went against the directive and went ahead to question the locus of the General Secretary, went ahead to call the National Council Committee as bogus, and some of these particular statements are not in good taste to be able to portray the party in a good sense. So I think that we need sanity within the system, and that is why the General Secretary has graciously referred to the disciplinary committee. There are other members that we have referred to the National Council of Elders of our party. Very quietly, after we had had our national executive committee meeting in the last week. So I think that the party is working on several other things, and I believe that Sarah Adwoa Safo will definitely attend to the committee. She's a party member. We respect her for being a former member of parliament, former minister, former deputy minister, former deputy of the party in parliament. So we know that we are a party that believes in democracy, and I think that this will be dispensed of by the appropriate committee.
All right. I'm grateful to you for joining us here on Top Story, brought to you always by Telecel, connecting energies and holy insecticide spray and coil. Enjoy a holy sleep. But this particular subject will be explored more on Newsnight, which comes up next here on Joy 99.7 FM. My name is Samuel Kojo Brace.